Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome back to the Card Closet for another episode. Today we've got yet another contest response video. This time it is for MrFisherbike. MrFisherbike doesn't really have an occasion for the contest other than just wanting to do a contest, which is awesome. And he wants us to show something that we've never shown before. So that kind of leaves it wide open. And I decided this would be the perfect opportunity for me to finally show my T206 Boston Red Sox team set. And so let's begin. We've got T206 was produced from 1909 through 1911. And there were 389 major league cards and 134 minor league cards in the set. They were produced by a company called the American Tobacco Company. There are 15 to 16 different backs to these, and each of those backs is a different cigarette brand that the American Tobacco Company sold. So, like, for example, the most common ones you're going to see are Sweet Caporal and Piedmont. You'll also see Polar Bear, Hindu, and a number of other ones. But those are all American Tobacco Company brands, and they put different backs on the card depending on which pack of cigarettes it was going to go in. So I've got my sets broken down to the year that it was produced because I like to have an annual Red Sox team set. And since T206 was produced over several years, I had to do a little research to find out which ones were 1909, which ones were 1910, and which ones were 1911. So I'll start off by showing the ones that were from 1909. So let's start out with Ed Saccott. Tubby Spencer, Jake Stahl, Heine Wagner, and Harry Niles. So this is a Piedmont back, obviously. And then Red Sox from 1910. Another Jake Stahl with a different pose this time. Another Heine Wagner with a different pose again. Not sure how to say this. It might be Ariana's. And Red Kleino. And then slabbed here, we've got Harry Lord. Another Piedmont back. And Tris Speaker. And a Piedmont back. So let me give you a little information. If you're into T206s and you want to know which year your cards were produced or printed, there were 6 different print runs with this set over the 3 years. And within those 6 print runs, there are 3 series represented. So the first series was printed in very early, they believe, February 1909. And that's called the Series 150. And you can tell what series your card is from by the number right there. So this is a Piedmont 150 series. This is a Piedmont 150 series, etc. So the 150 series, there were 150 cards in it, obviously, and that was early 1909. In the middle of 1909, they believe in May, 200 additional players were printed, and they were called Print Group 2. And because 100 plus 150 from Series 1 plus 200 new ones equals 350, they called that the 350 series. So like this one I showed, this is a sweet caproll from the 350 series, which is middle of 1909. And then print runs 3 had 60 cards in it, 4 had 46 cards in it, and 5 had only 6 cards in it. So if you add those 3 together, that's 112 more cards on top of the 350. So they called it the 460 series rather than 462. And I don't have any that were only in that. There were cards that were in both the 350 and the 460 series. So you can see that right there. Piedmonts, and then here's a sweet caproll from the 350, another Piedmont from the 350 and the 460. And then the 6th print group was all minor league players, primarily from the Southern leagues. So I didn't have to worry about getting into that with the Boston Red Sox. So print group 1 and 2 were from 1909, and then print groups 3, 4, 5, and 6 were 1910 or 1911, with 1911 being primarily the minor leaguers. So as a collector of Boston Red Sox, I didn't have to get into 1911 too much. So to sum it up, if you know your player name and if you know your series number from right here, and you know the brand of cigarettes, you use those 3 bits of information, go to net54baseball.com, and they have a page there where you can pinpoint the year. So, you know, the players that had multiple series, like this one right here, because it was in 2 different series, printed 2 different years, you need to go by the brand name to know which cigarette brand printed that player that year. So it's pretty foolproof. There's a big chart, like I said, where you can cross-reference all your players. So it's pretty cool. T206 is one of the, if not the most counterfeited vintage sets there is. If you go onto YouTube and just Google, don't go onto YouTube, go to Google and search for how to tell counterfeit T206s, you'll get a lot of good pages. But it's pretty easy to figure it out once you get into it. And the main thing is that name down there, Speaker, Boston, American, that is actually a brown. And most of the counterfeits have that in black. So that's the telltale. That eliminates a lot of your problems if you can just look for brown. And I know that when you're buying on eBay, for example, you don't see it. But if they don't give you a very good view of that, then ask them for a picture that is a close-up of the lettering, so that you know without a shadow of a doubt that that's a brown rather than a black. So that is my entry to the contest. Thank you, Mr. FisherBike, for having the contest. Hope you enjoyed that T206 Red Sox team set. Mr. FisherBike is a Boston Red Sox fan living down in Florida. He's a fireman, and he has a real interesting channel. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend you go to his channel, Mr. FisherBike, and give him a sub and watch him opening up all these really cool Red Sox cards that he gets. He's a big Nomar Garciaparra collector, and he's got a good PC of Noma. So some of you that are real diehards will notice that I missed Bill Kerrigan from this set. I actually lost it. I cannot find it. I've got it around here somewhere. It's striking because it has a red background behind him, and I couldn't find it in time for this video, but I've got it around. I just don't know where. So thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. This is Eric from the Card Closet signing out. Bye.